You're listening to the Friday edition of the Shed Geek Podcast, brought to you by Shed Geek Marketing. At Shed Geek Marketing, we've assembled a hand-picked team of specialists from across the shed and portable building industry to help manufacturers, dealers, and service providers grow smarter and scale faster. From websites and SEO to Google Ads, meta campaigns, content creation, video production, lead funnels, systems integrations, and industry-specific lead gen tools, we help businesses build real momentum instead of chasing random marketing trends. Today, Shed Geek Marketing is holding down this title sponsor spot at the top of the show, but this could just as easily be your company, featured right here in front of thousands of industry professionals, business owners, and decision makers every single week. If you'd like information about title sponsorship, podcast advertising, or our 2026 Shed Geek Media Kit, reach out to us at info@shedgeek.com. And now, on to the podcast. Welcome back to another episode of the Shed Geek Podcast. I am here on another beautiful sunny day in Metropolis, Illinois. It's been such a great week here, kind of continuing a theme of the media side of the business right now, the creator side, the content side. If you listened last week, you would have heard Jeremy Yoder, pro shed builder. And today, again, I have a person who is putting out great content, Mr. Dustin Schwartz. Shed Movers R Us is his YouTube page, so go check him out. This is going to be another really informative episode, I think, about just breaking down some of these barriers and encouraging people to, just jump in front of that camera and try it out. But before we get rolling, just a couple of quick things so you know how to stay plugged in with us. Of course, by now, you know the phone number, 618-309-3648. That is Shannon's phone number. Give him a ring anytime. Email info@shedgeek.com, contact forms as well at www.shedgeek.com. The Facebook pages, the Shed Sales Professionals group. Of course, Dustin is a member of the Shed Haulers group, so go and check that out as well if you're on the hauling side. And then for anyone listening out there who has friends, acquaintances, family members in the plane community, or maybe you just prefer to listen on a call-in line, that number is 330-997-3055. That's a great resource for our friends in the plane community to be able to listen to the Shed Geek podcast. And I'd also like to real quickly talk about our exclusive paints and coverings partners, Pittsburgh Paints. We all know that paint is what makes the first impression to the customer, but for those of us in the industry, we also know that there is so much more behind it. That's why Pittsburgh Paints has introduced their True Industrial and the True Shed Max Shed program, offering solid acrylics and semi-transparent urethanes. True Shed Max stands out as the true industrial product formulated specifically for shed builders. Coatings, sundries, and supporting products, along with color palette assessments from a Pittsburgh Paints color expert. We actually had one of the Pittsburgh Paints color experts on a Wednesday episode. Go back and listen to that. She is fantastic and does a great job walking Shannon through just how to pair those paint colors and how to select those paint colors. But this is about more than that. It's about local stores, local stock, and local service. The guys over at Pittsburgh Paints, they're so good. They come out, they're hands-on. They want to show you what their paints and coatings can do and how that can not only affect the shed itself and the longevity, but how that can affect your business. How efficient are you? How efficient are your paints and coatings? Right? Are you saving money at the same time as offering a really good product? So get a hold of Jamie over at Pittsburgh Paints, or you can give us a ring, and we are happy to put you in touch. That is Pittsburgh Paints with the True Shed Max and the True Industrial line of products. So, having said those things, as I kind of teased there at the beginning, today I am joined by Mr. Dustin Schwartz of DNR Transport, Shed Movers R Us, YouTube page coming out of the East Central Ohio area. And I'm just so happy to continue this series on media and content and how to capture video and build trust with people through a screen and start to have those relationships. So, Dustin, Man, introduce yourself. How did you get into the shed industry as a whole, shed moving, and now all the way to video and YouTube pages?
Yeah. Yeah. The video side of things is definitely something I never seen myself getting into, but um, the shed hauling that started back 2018 is when I started hauling sheds,
Almost a decade now.
getting close. Um, and that's also something I would have never seen myself doing. It's not something I was looking into getting into or anything like that. Um, Previously, my job was working at a sawmill. I worked at a sawmill from as soon as I was out of school and operating heavy equipment. So the shed, I mean, running the shed trailers and mules and stuff, it was something that it didn't take me too long to get used to running it, I guess. I mean, it's obviously different than what I was doing, but
Heavy
I was
equipment's
used
heavy
to, yeah,
equipment in some ways.
I was around heavy equipment a lot from a young age. So um, I mean, I worked the sawmill for 7 years, and I kind of just basically got tired of what I was doing, the environment I was in. So I actually quit that job. Trying to think of what year it was. Can't remember the year, but I went and worked for a company that my dad was at. It was like a tire distributing company where it was a delivery job where I had to go load up tires and deliver them and to various, different locations.
Did you get your CDL to
Um,
do that or no?
I, no, the vehicle that I was running was like a box van, so it didn't require a CDL. Um, uh, I got into that. I did not stay there very long because um, when I when I was talking to the guys here at the tire place, I told them, look, I'll quit my job where I'm at now if you can say that you'll pay me what I'm making or better. And they said they could. So I how was it? It was probably about 6 months into it that my boss at the time, he uh he said that he didn't really look into the what it's going to take to insure me because I was under the age of 25. I had some speeding tickets, and he just hired me and didn't like, I guess, look into that. And he was paying a boatload of money for just to insure me in a commercial vehicle. So he said what he's going to have to do is take that out of my paycheck,
My
and
goodness.
obviously that was going to drop me way down to below where I was previously. So, and I mean, I don't know. I was never. I shouldn't say I was. I was kind of upset, to be honest.
Well, yeah.
um,
I mean, that's a heck of, I mean, number one, that has to break some labor laws to tell somebody I'm going to take the cost of your insurance out of your paycheck. I mean, that's a strong stance to try and
I
take.
mean, yeah, I get it was a lot. Like I was young. I had a little sports car, and I drove fast. I was a young kid and had some speeding tickets. Tickets. That's all it takes. If you're commercial driving, it's even if you don't have a CDL, it's insurance is a big thing.
Yep.
So, I quit that without anything lined up. I just literally quit, and I was probably out of work for I don't know how long it was, honestly, probably a couple of weeks. And then I actually went back to the sawmill that I quit,
Hmm.
and that was a little bit of a hard thing to do because my boss, before I quit, he was trying to, convince me to stay, and then I had to go down there with my head down. Hey,
Hat in your hand. Yeah, exactly.
can
Exactly.
I have my job back? But of course, they had already filled my position, and he said he wishes he could get me back, but he can't take the job away from the other guy. So
Right.
there I was, no job. And then the guy, my boss at the sawmill, knew of a guy that had a logging company and was looking for another driver, an Amish guy that owned this logging crew. He was looking for a driver and a equipment operator. So reached out to him and started working for him. And I think I worked there for maybe a year. He
Now, surely you had to do your CDL for those types of
so
logging trucks.
this driving was literally just driving him around, driving him to
Oh,
and from work, like
oh, I
driving the
see.
crew. So
Yes,
he
yes.
had he had another Amish kid working for him that was a tree cutter, and then he had another guy that wasn't Amish that was driving him currently. But he wanted another guy for operating like skidder and the knuckle booms and stuff like that,
Mhm.
loading trucks. And then I was also the one driver would usually drive in the morning, and then I would drive home. So yeah, still didn't have my CDL. I didn't get my CDL honestly till a lot later on in the story. But um, that was a salary based pay where it was um, paid, whether we were working or whether we weren't. And I thought I was going to love that because I was like, well, in the logging industry, it really, you know, the weather really affects the
Oh yeah.
when you can work and when you can't. But I was surprised. This guy, we worked. It didn't matter if it was mud or snow or ice, we worked. And I was like, I don't know. I kind of, I definitely my preference of payment if I'm working for someone is like commission based or production. Like when I worked at the mill, I got paid off production and what we cut
Right.
at the sawmill. So salary pay was something that I was not used to. I mean, it was all right, but it was like the same check every week. Like, I don't know, just something
No
about it
matter how much you busted it, you know.
did not matter. You could work, 40 hours a week or you could work 60 hours a week. It was honestly the same. Um, but then the following winter, so I started there, I think in the fall, and then I worked actually probably worked there for a little bit over a year. And then that winter, things got real slow, and he basically had to let me go. I was the last guy he hired, and he said he can't afford to keep
Yeah.
paying everybody. So that was like a surprise. I was just all of a sudden I was without a job again,
Hmm.
and
Just as you had settled into something that
yeah,
was, yeah.
yeah, it was. So I've been in the logging slash sawmill business uh, quite a bit in my early years, um, and I enjoyed working in the woods and stuff, operating. But yeah, that came to an end. Um, and I think this happened like in January of 2018 or the
Hmm.
last part of 2017, and I think I was probably without work for probably about a month. I didn't have anything lined up and didn't know what I was going to do. And then my father-in-law, he was in the shed business. I mean, he's been in the shed business for years. He was from well, he's from around here in Ohio, but they moved to Alabama
Was he building
and
or selling or some of everything?
building and delivering
Okay.
his own sheds. I don't know too much of that story, so I'm not going to get too
Sure.
much into that, but I know he's been or their family's been in the shed business for a long time.
All right, shed and carport industries, let's talk about the part of the shed and carport business nobody puts on the brochure. The moment a customer says, "We love it, we just need to think about the money." That's exactly why J-Money is the exclusive finance partner of the Shed Geek podcast. Because here's the truth. The need for steel buildings and storage buildings exists, but often the money isn't available, or they just don't want to drain their savings. And when you can offer financing at the point of sale, it's a game changer. Conversion rates jump 20 to 30%, and average sale size can increase 30 to 50%. With J-Money Loan Solutions, the process is fast, simple, and paperless. They offer unsecured loans from $1,000 to $100,000, with terms up to 20 years, and it's nationwide. You, the contractor, choose from free plans or promotional plans, like no interest, no payment options. Funds get distributed directly to you. You control when you get paid, and there are no sign-up fees and no annual fees. Even better, there's no recourse to you if a customer doesn't pay. Stop letting "we'll think about it" steal your next sale. Offer financing with J-Money and grow like a pro. Check them out at jmoneyllc.com and tell them the Shed Geek podcast sent you.
So what's funny is the way I met my wife and like her dad was the way I met her dad was at the sawmill. He was truck driving at the time, and he would haul lumber out of there. Right. I had no idea. So I was talking to this girl, and I met her on Facebook, and I had no idea that this guy that was hauling lumber out of here was her dad. I was loading him up every day. And
at least he knew you had good work ethic, I guess. You know?
Yeah. He would come in there every day. I would load him up with lumber and, chit chat with him, and he'd go off and come back the next day. And finally I seen this picture on, well, she wasn't even my girlfriend at the time. We were just talking.
Yeah.
And I seen this picture on her Facebook with this guy, and I was like, wait,
that's my driver.
Is your dad? This is your dad. So I actually talked to her dad that like the next day and told her, hey, I didn't know you're Regina. My wife's name is Regina.
Yeah.
Didn't know that's your daughter. But anyways, skipping forward to, I don't know how many years, probably a couple of years later, he got into the shed business around here. He started up a couple of shed lots, and his wife and my wife, my girlfriend at the time, they were the sales ladies there. They would sell, and then he had bought a shed rig, and he was doing all the deliveries. So he had a pretty good thing going on there. And when I was without work, I think he was the one that reached out to me and just asked if I'd be into hauling sheds. And I was like, man, I don't know. That seems kind of intimidating. Yeah.
If you don't have the right tools. Yeah, right.
Not something I would have seen myself doing, but I ended up saying yes, because I was like, I don't have anything else lined up. So, and I was like, this is a really good opportunity for me as far as getting involved with the family business they got going on here. And I got to see my girlfriend, whenever I'd show up at the lots, and
yeah, right.
She would sell and I would deliver. But I remember my first delivery that I went with, I was just riding along basically. And this delivery, this was in West Virginia. And for my first delivery, this was one of the worst ones I could have had. Like, I was not the one in charge. I was not the one driving.
Right.
But I'm talking this building where these people wanted this building set was just on a good old West Virginia slope.
Right.
And we carried blocks on the truck at that time, and we used every block on the truck just to get it level. I don't even know if we got it level, like every block. And then we had to run to Lowe's and get a whole nother pallet of block to finish the block job. And I was like, my goodness, what am I getting myself into?
Makes you wish you
And-
would have had a camera strapped to your chest, I bet.
Yeah, I didn't know what I was getting myself into there, but it's part of West Virginia deliveries is like it's a whole different ball game. I mean, I know it's not just West Virginia. You got Kentucky and places like that too that are pretty hilly, and
Yeah, but the whole state of West Virginia is that way.
it really is. A lot of blocks that I've slung over the last 8 years. But we got that one set. This was probably about February, so it was really slow season. So it was kind of a good time to start, kind of get me the feel for things, and I wasn't jumping into it like full blast. But I went with him on a couple more deliveries, and I think my father-in-law is pretty big on the best way to learn is just put you in the truck and figure it out.
Right.
Because that's exactly what happened. I went with maybe on, I don't know. I honestly don't remember how many, but when I think back, it was like, I feel like it was like 3 deliveries that I went with him on.
Right.
And then went with him on an inventory run. We did some inventory. He showed me kind of the ropes, what to do and how to set buildings up.
Yep.
And then he sent me out on my first run all by myself. And I'd never drove the mule yet. Never really hadn't operated the trailer just a ton. He showed me kind of what the buttons do. But I remember my first load I went up after it. I think I was trying to get a 40-foot load, which that trailer was capable of hauling 40 feet, but it was a 34-foot trailer. So you had like 6 foot of overhang total.
Right.
And I remember trying to figure out how in the world to stretch all this stuff out to make these buildings fit. I got the first building on and I couldn't figure out how to get the front extension to go up. And I was like, there's no way I can get 2 20-footers on here. And I remember I almost lost the building over the front end. I had it pushed up so far, and I could not figure out how to get the front extension out because there's different button combinations that you got to hit. And I called him and told him, and I was like, what am I supposed to do? And he kind of ran me through like which buttons to hit. And it's kind of hard to explain that over the phone, even for me.
Yeah.
I can hit those buttons without even looking at them.
Yeah.
But if somebody asked me which button to hit, and I'm like, can't remember.
Yeah. It's the one that feels right.
Right. So he tried to explain that to me, and I guess I finally got it figured out because I got the load loaded up and took off down the road. And one of my first oversized, I did haul another load with him that he loaded for me, I guess, and that was a load of 12 wides. And I remember just driving down the road gripping the steering wheel and looking in my mirrors, just constantly thinking I'm going to hit something. Like, This is insane.
It sounds to me like he was testing the industriousness and the fortitude of the young man who wanted to, date and potentially marry his daughter.
That could be. That could be. It really is a good way to learn, though, because you can try and teach a new person your tricks and everything, but everybody kind of has their own little bit of different ways that they do things. I mean, and it was a good way for me to learn because, I think it was. It feels like it was. At the time, it scared the living daylight out of me, but
yeah. Right.
I got over it. So, I still at this point had never ran the mule. Like this mule just stayed on the truck. My first couple of loads were inventory loads. Like I said, it was wintertime. Wasn't a whole lot to do delivery wise.
You just drop them in there. Yeah, as long as you line the trailer, just good. Yeah.
Drop them and go. And but he had never showed me how to run the mule. All the deliveries we had done at up to this point with him were just trailer drops. So the mule kind of intimidated me, I guess. I didn't. It was. It's just this little machine, but it was like
back then. It was
never.
Before that,
never ran anything like it.
whenever they were, still a little hard to balance and still a little, right. Yeah.
It was a little mule 4, but
unlock the power of productivity with Cardinal Leasing. Are you looking to elevate your business operations with top-tier equipment? Look no further than Cardinal Leasing. We offer a wide range of reliable and high-quality equipment tailored to meet your unique needs. Flexible leasing options. Whether you need short-term rentals or long-term solutions, our customizable leasing plans are designed to provide maximum flexibility and affordability. Conventional financing available. Cardinal Leasing also offers great conventional finance options for those of you that prefer that over-lease purchase options. Expert support. Our team of experienced professionals is here to guide you every step of the way, ensuring a seamless leasing experience. Boost efficiency. With our top-of-the-line equipment, you can enhance productivity, reduce downtime, and achieve your business goals faster. Why choose Cardinal Leasing? Competitive rates, exceptional customer service, hassle-free process, quick and easy approvals. Don't let outdated equipment hold you back. Partner with Cardinal Leasing today and take your business to the next level. Contact us now. Visit our website at equipment.cardinalleasing.us or call us at 618-803-4086 to get started.
I remember the first actual delivery that I had. And I should mention too, up until this point, I had never actually had much experience pulling trailers. Like, I've ran equipment, all that good stuff, but like pulling a trailer, backing a trailer was totally new. Like, my first delivery showed it too, because you could not have asked for an easier first delivery. Like, it was at a business in a gravel parking lot, wide open, and all he wanted me to do was back it beside the dumpster and drop it. And I remember just trying to make it look like I knew what I was doing.
Right.
Like, I tried so hard. Instead of being honest, be like, "Hey, this is my first delivery. I didn't do that. I just played it off as cool as I could." And
the ultimate thing that guys never want to own up to, which is, this is my first time backing a trailer.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't my first time, but it probably looked like it was. Because I had to try probably about 4 or 5 different times to get that thing lined up.
Oh man!
But it was way out of my comfort zone. But finally got it backed up there, dropped it off, and I remember here probably about a year ago, I actually drove past that spot, and that building was still sitting there, and brought back tons of memories.
How far
I
you've
think
come, how far you've come.
Yeah. I didn't know I'm not sure. I mean, I could have used my sideway wheels, but I thought that would be too obvious that I don't know how to back a trailer up in this wide open lot.
Right.
So I just pulled up 4 or 5 times and finally got it lined up.
So, so you're working kind of in the family business then, and you are, obviously getting your feet under you. So then how does that morph into, a full on, was DNR transport already a thing at that point, or how does that morph into a full operation for yourself? And then obviously now I would say, as of today, you probably you're probably putting out the most shed hauling content, at least long form shed hauling content, probably in the country at this moment, at least by my approximation. So how do you go from feeling real uncomfortable, but doing the old 4 or 5 point pull it up and back it up, to kind of being, working for yourself and confidently creating these videos?
Yeah. So, it was kind of I was working for him, I was just I can't remember. I think I was getting commission based off of what the truck was making, or percentage based.
Right.
And it was going pretty good. But same thing, my previous job, if you remember the insurance issue,
Oh,
that
right.
came up again. So he got his quote to what they're charging him for insurance. And it's a big thing, I guess, for commercial driving under the age of 25. If you're under the age of 25, and especially if you have speeding tickets or anything like that,
Yeah.
they charge you like crazy.
Yeah.
So it came up. He talked to me. He told me it's an outrageous amount to insure me, to drive his truck. And he's like, he honestly can't afford to do that. Like,
Mm-hmm.
so he at this time, the whole reason, I guess, that he wanted somebody in the shed truck, because he also had semis, or a semi, and he was flatbedding, hauling flatbed loads, lumber, stuff like that. And so this was kind of his way of getting two trucks on the road. One was doing shed hauling, and one was he was in the big truck.
Right.
And I should mention too, at this time, I was running a truck that did not require CDL. So it was a small, F-350 with a small trailer.
Sure.
So still didn't have my CDL. But the whole insurance thing, he was like, he thinks he's just gonna stay in the big truck and he's gonna sell the shed rig to someone else. And he said he's gonna give me the first chance at it. So I talked to my dad, because I didn't have money at the time.
Yeah.
I didn't have money for a shed rig. And actually the whole rig was financed. He was making payments on it. It was financed, and we were able to work it out to where I was just able to take over the payments on everything.
Mm-hmm.
And he didn't charge me any extra. It was literally just take over the payments and it's yours.
Run with it. That's awesome.
So I was like, I'm jumping on it. At this point, I was starting to get the hang of it. It'd probably been a couple weeks, or maybe a couple of months, probably a couple of months. And I started to get the feel for things and figuring it out. And I told him, yeah, I'll do it. I'll buy it, and I'll keep doing the delivery side. And he was keeping the shed lot. So my mother-in-law, well, not at the time, but yeah,
right.
her and my girlfriend were still doing the sales. And so I jumped on it. I started getting all my numbers. I had to get my own DOT, MC number, all that stuff. And the good thing about this was I had all the work lined up. Like, I already had tons of work. This was, spring of 2018, and it was booming.
Yep.
And the starting out, getting all the, paperwork, numbers, all that stuff was a pretty big headache for me. It was something I'd never, I guess, done before. But I ended up paying somebody to kind of do all that for me.
Mm-hmm.
And got the DOT number, got my own authority, put my name on the truck, and just started working, like work. And of course, there's the whole insurance thing. That was they wanted, so I called in to get insurance, and the only company that would insure me was Progressive, the big company. That was the only company that would insure me, and they wanted $11,000 right up front for the rest of the year. Like,
wow.
There was no exceptions. They're like, no payments. We need this all up front.
Right.
I didn't have $11,000 to my name. Like, I was,
Yeah.
So
trying to get started. My goodness.
Yeah, trying to get started. I was like, so I had to loan the money from my dad. He loaned me $11,000, and I just paid him back over the months. And the insurance was definitely a big factor, and
continues to be. That's probably the hottest topic
Yeah.
like if, but anyway, so you get yourself up and rolling. And it sounds like you had, like you say, you already have the business from your, like the, what was soon to be your family, side
Hmm.
with their lots. I suppose you're then taking on, other, adjacent in the region type of stuff, or were you able to stay busy enough just inside the family business there?
For the most part, most of the work came from just those lots that he had. Those just two lots, and they were really good lots. Like
Hmm.
one was on the far east side of Ohio, close to Wheeling, and then the other one was on the east side of Wheeling. And those two lots there were enough to keep me busy.
Right.
And then there was there was a couple other little Amish shops, local Amish shops around
Hmm.
that he was hauling for, and I just continued getting that work as well. So um, work was not an issue. Like it was way more work than I had worked more than I had ever worked at a 9 to 5 or anything.
Keeping it hooked up all the time.
Yeah, I, it was like dark to dark a lot of
Yeah.
nights and or a lot of days.
That's what you do when you're young though, right? I mean, you're young,
Yep.
you're still figuring out just how to, navigate the world, and the thing that you can do that, as we get older, as you start to learn, that becomes harder as you get older, is you can just put in a 14-hour day, 16-hour day, right? I mean,
Yeah.
it may not be fun, but like the youth of it, the energy of it, your body just allows for it. And it's an advantage. That's what I tell my
Yeah.
sons all the time. Like, like you may not always be the most talented or the smartest guy in the room, but you can be the first one there and you can be the last one to leave, and you can outwork
Hmm.
everybody in between. You're 22 years old, right?
Yeah.
Put your nose to the grindstone and, make it work.
Yeah.
But, so, so fast forward then, I mean, obviously now you've had DNR for several years. Are you running? Is it still you pretty much as the single driver? Do you have multiples? Kind of how have things gone over the years? Is your family still selling sheds and having shed lots? What's the update?
So yeah, there's been some changes there. And it is still just me. I'm the only driver. I have thought about there's been many times, especially over like 2020, 2019, 2021,
The COVID
2022.
boom. Yeah.
Those were some crazy busy years. And I was very close to like trying to, just add another driver, but I would always run into loads of work in the summer, and then I wouldn't be able to keep enough work
Right.
for a driver in the wintertime. And I don't know, I guess ended up always just doing it myself, like everything. The one thing I did change probably, I don't know, a couple of years ago was I took all the scheduling and stuff and let my dad, he does he does the all the scheduling and dispatching for me.
Hmm.
And that was a huge thing because anybody that does that knows that it can be a headache. Like just trying to schedule multiple buildings to individuals. Like everybody's got something going on, and
Yeah. Right.
it sometimes feels impossible to make it work out for everybody. But that was a huge load off my shoulders.
Yeah.
As far as the family thing, what happened actually soon after, I don't know, maybe not super soon, but like a while after I started hauling sheds, my father-in-law wanted to sell the lots, and ended up selling the lots to my dad. My dad bought them, and so my dad was now running the shed lots, and still is to this day. And my girlfriends stayed at the lot. She was still selling, and at this point in time, she was ready to quit. She was tired of selling sheds.
Right. Right.
But
It wears on people.
yeah, um, so he took over the lots. It was same company that he was selling for, and I can't remember when my wife quit. Honestly, can't remember, but she ended up quitting that, and my sister ended up starting there, and she started selling. And
This is a
my
family
sister,
affair all around.
yeah, my
Both
sister did
sides.
it for a while, and then she quit. Now, um, as far as the salespeople, my brother now sells there, and then there's another girl that sells there, so who is not part of the family, but she's been selling for quite a while now. She's been working there. Um, I'd say she might be the person that's been there the longest out of everybody. But yeah, I mean, still in the family. It's just kind of flipped
It's the
around.
flip sides, yeah. Well,
Yeah,
that's that's a proud tradition in the shed industry, right? It all
yeah,
just moves between the families and keeps on
yeah,
going down the road, right? But
yeah.
so then tell me, um, obviously I've become a fan of Shed Movers R Us and your YouTube channel and the way that you document, and I think you do such a good job of the exposition. I think that your kind of commentary that's like live, either as you're headed out or even, while you're on the job. I think you do such a good job of talking the viewers through what's happening, which is an easy thing to forget about whenever you're out there
Yeah,
working, just trying to get the job done. Um,
yeah.
so I think you do a great job of it. I mean, what was it, when and how, and what was it that kind of got you into the, digital creator, content creator? Because I have to say, a thing that I'm noticing about yourself, and then, like I said, for those who listened last week, you know, you and Jeremy are both fairly reserved fellas, you know,
Hmm.
uh, and guys who do such a great job on camera, but who, in conversation, you guys are, just steady and, it's not this kind of like, amped up, whatever, that type of stuff that you normally think of when you think of people who, tend to want to be in front of a camera. So like,
Hmm.
how did that come about? I mean, was it natural for you? It feels like it's something that you have to warm up to a little bit.
Definitely is. Not natural for me at all. No, it's yeah, I am more reserved because like if you were to hang out with me or in my friend group, I'm definitely not. My friends don't. I'm not known to be the big talker or the loud one,
Right.
but so that was definitely something hard for me to, I don't know, get used to, I guess. Just talking to a camera in itself is can be a kind of awkward.
Yeah. Who
And
are
I'm
you
not,
talking to? You're talking to the
yeah,
imaginary viewer that you don't actually have yet, right?
yeah. And I still don't consider myself great at it because um, there's times where it feels, I don't know, it's not something that's natural to me, I guess. But I'm not a big talker. Um, the the way, I guess, the way it started, the YouTube thing. So I've always wanted a YouTube channel when I was younger. So when I was younger, it would have been something totally different. It would have been, I was really big into gaming. So I would watch YouTube gamers,
Hmm.
which I know sounds weird.
It's
It
huge.
was something yeah, it
It's
is
huge.
huge.
Yeah.
And I was never good enough I didn't see myself as good enough to do something like that, but it was something I've wanted to do for a long time and never knew what I would actually make a YouTube channel for, like what it would be about.
Shed builders, if you're looking to boost efficiency and improve your truss and component production, you need to know about iFab LLC. We've been building shop-tested, builder-approved equipment since 2011, and we specialize in reliable, durable solutions for real-world shed manufacturing. From truss presses and our adjustable jig to the precision door table, forklift building movers, and three-point building movers, iFab equipment is designed to help small shops and large production operations run smoother. And if you haven't seen our latest truss saw system, you're missing out on some major upgrades, like an integrated stop system, pneumatically automated slider saw, integrated scrap conveyor, and a standalone elevating conveyor. These innovative options are helping shops cut faster, cleaner, and more consistently than ever. Whether you're expanding production or tightening up your workflow, we're here to help. Visit iFab LLC to explore our machines or give us a call. Let's talk about improving your shop. iFab LLC, simple, innovative solutions for the shed industry.
And the way I kind of figured out what I'm going to do was I seen somebody else have a channel that was in the shed industry.
Mm-hmm.
And you might have heard of him. Josh, Shed Happens.
Oh yeah, of course.
He's got a big channel, and he started. I mean, I don't know when he started it. He's been doing it a long time.
Yeah, I think his was back in like the 2016 type of an era.
Yeah.
I mean, I think he's had it for a decade already.
Yeah. So I mean, what I always tell people is like, I didn't just come up with this. I mean, if we're being honest, I kind of followed in Josh's footsteps. Like I consider him the OG of the shed videos, because he's the one that kind of started, or the one that I started watching. And I was like, man, if Josh can do it, I'm doing the same type of work. And I was like, why did I never think of doing that? Like, people do find this equipment interesting.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, why did I never think of that? So, because I would watch I would watch all his videos, like, which is funny because I'm in the same industry, but I still watched him. I was like, I mean, the stuff he runs into, and he's quite
the humor of
too.
it, the exposition of it. I mean, it's a story, whatever. People started out, reading books and then listening to the radio and then watching scripted television and then watching unscripted television. And now we're all the way down to just like here, like we want the narrative, the exposition of just like life. And that's what you're out there doing. I mean, it's your life as a shed hauler intersecting with the life of whoever that customer is and whatever they've got going on. And whether you're delivering or picking up or repoing or whatever it is, it's a story. And, I think you may be a little, unsure or still working on your craft, but I think you do a great job of like laying that story out at the beginning and setting everything up and then continuing to give the audience that narrative as it happens. So, so anyway, so when approximately then, when was it that you started doing this? And, I think maybe even just to give people a little behind the scenes, what did you start with? How hard was it? I think people get intimidated by the actual stuff, the hardware, the cameras, the stuff like that. But like, how did you start out?
Basically the way I started out was, my first type of content was short form content, for TikTok. And I was a late TikTok user. Like, I got into it late. Like, TikTok came out and people were using it, and I never even downloaded the app. And then it took me a while. I finally downloaded it, and I was like, I could start posting some short videos on here. All I used was, I bought a mount. I guess it's the same type of mount that you would get for a GoPro body mount, but you get a phone mount to put onto that. And I just used my iPhone. I'd put it on my person and just video what I was doing. But I would do short form.
Just hit record and roll with it.
I would just do short form, and that's really how it started. I didn't do the TikTok thing very long. I guess my goal was to do longer form videos. So I started with TikTok, short form, and then I finally, so I had a video kind of go viral from me on TikTok. It was like only 100,000 views, but for TikTok, that's not that much. Like you can get millions and millions of views on there.
That's a lot for
Pretty
a
easy.
startup channel. I mean, that's a lot.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
it was it was for- I guess the reason I started on TikTok, I thought it'd be easier to grow on there. It just seemed like videos got more reach
Mhm.
on there. So I started on there. And I put this one video where I was picking up a building, and it kind of got like sort of went viral on there. And I had filmed the whole job, but I just put this short clip on TikTok, and I was like, okay, that thing kind of went crazy. So I think that was my first actual YouTube video. I had put on a couple short videos on YouTube, but that one there was my first one, and I just all I did was filmed it on my phone, and I edited the whole thing on my phone. Did not like I didn't have a computer. I didn't have nothing. Like I wasn't ready to like I didn't have the right setup, but
Right.
I just
Right.
did it. And actually I don't know how many videos deep it goes, but I I was doing everything with the phone. Like I didn't have a GoPro, didn't have any type of camera, just did it with my phone. I would get
Shooting,
home.
editing, the
Yeah,
whole the whole bit.
I would get home and whip out the phone and just try to edit a long form video on my phone, which was kind of a nightmare.
Yeah.
But it's what got me started. And um, I remember like seeing some of these videos get some reach, get some views and stuff. I was like, I'm gonna get a computer. I'm gonna get something that um, I can edit with, because the computer that I had was pretty pretty slow. Like you would try and download, or you would try and edit a video, and it would just sit there and buffer, and it's like, this isn't working. So I went out and spent some good money on a decent computer, and it really helped the production, I guess.
Yeah.
It
Makes all
sped
the
me up.
difference.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I did end up getting some cameras, and that made it easier too, because trying to do it on your phone can be kind of, well, if you get a phone call while you're videoing and you don't know it, that'll shut the camera off. That's happened many times. But I finally figured out to just put it in airplane mode, and then you're
Right.
good to go. But
Right.
yeah, starting out, didn't have the right equipment, but
Well,
it
now,
was a good start.
yeah, and you just did it, and I think, for the listeners, and as we kind of continue to march forward in this digital age, where there are new consumers, new buyers every day, who have grown up native to these platforms, who have grown up completely and totally comfortable, making purchase decisions online,
Hmm.
or at least becoming comfortable with the company online. There may still be a visit to the store. I mean, it's not like young people don't go to Target, like they've,
Yeah.
young people love Target, but they want to be comfortable with the brand, the store, the personalities. Like they want to have that connection. And probably a lot of it, being cynical, is because we've lost a lot of that connection in our community lives. There's just less participation, in the general community for most people. So they find that online. But it's an advantage for business if you just do what you're saying and you just jump in and do it to start.
Hmm.
And a lot of companies are doing that. I see a lot of our listeners, a lot of shed industry companies who are just putting themselves out there, are putting their face in front of a camera, and who are starting to allow a customer to build that trust with a specific person, that they then would potentially interact with. But so now take us through, because I'm always impressed with how good your edits are, because at this point you've basically got front facing, cabin face, like you've got the hood of your truck, you've got the cabin, like the shot that's
Hmm.
like back at yourself, you've got a backup cam, so you can look out, whenever you're even backing a trailer in. Now that you're so good at it, now now you can clip it up. So what's the setup? And then I presume you're now doing GoPro on the chest, or what's the setup now that you've kind of managed to get deep enough into it?
So yeah, I ended up getting 3 cameras, but most times I'm only using 2. Also, the more cameras you're using, the harder it's going to be in post, like to
Yeah.
edit.
Yep.
Trying to sync everything up, which the software I have kind of does all the hard work there and syncs it up. You have to do some stuff, but yeah, the more cameras, the harder I discovered, the harder it is for me to edit. But it's also it makes it easier in a way because the way it makes it easier, I guess, would be you got a camera facing one way and you got maybe a body camera on, or you got a camera set up somewhere else, and maybe one camera didn't capture what I wanted to capture. So having that extra footage, you can grab that and put that in there. But the setup started off with GoPro, just a good old GoPro camera, and I still just use action cameras. I don't have any big fancy cameras or anything, but I did switch to the camera that I'm using here is a DJI, and the reason I switched to that over the GoPro was the low light capabilities on the GoPro were just, I feel like they're not up to par, I guess. And it's the same type of camera. It's just an action camera, but and then as far as editing, I don't have any training in editing. That was another whole new ball game for me. Ironically enough, I learned on YouTube how to edit YouTube videos.
Yeah.
Just a lot of videos, and
Right.
I'd be working on a project, and I would come across something that I would like to do, like a new edit here. I have this idea in my head, but I don't know how to do it. So
Like all the cuts and all the whooshes and whatever's necessary. Yeah.
So just go on YouTube and figure it out. There's tons of stuff on YouTube.
YouTube University, as they say these days, right?
Yeah.
You can learn anything,
Yeah, you can.
They should really start handing out certificates. If you put in 10,000 hours in a specific subject, they should just be like, you know what, we're going to certify the education of this guy. But I think that is, one of the things that we're really working on, is like we see the need across the industry, but really in general, for the actual, because the post is the hard part, right? I mean, like once you've got your setup and you're able to capture, of course, you got to make sure your cameras are charged and you're not losing footage on, because of a mishap or whatever. But by and large, the biggest input winds up being your time in post, in edits, and really limits the actual volume of content that you can produce, is more limited by how much time you can actually devote to doing the editing, more so than how much can you capture. Do you feel like I'm describing that in a fair way?
Very much, yeah. There was many nights where I would come home from work, and that's all I really got done. Just trying to because starting out, I was trying to pump out videos as much as I could, and it feels like it's just added another thing to my task list for the day was editing at night, and I would edit till late at night and sometimes not get it done, but then finish it the next night and then upload it. But yeah, editing is definitely the most, for me, time consuming part of it because I do everything myself. But yeah, getting the actual footage is, I mean, not crazy hard. I mean, you got to set up cameras and stuff. But one thing that right from the get-go was people would complain about the body cam. I get a lot of elderly people that watch my channel and they're watching it on a big screen. And it's not something that I would have thought about because most of the YouTube I watch is on my phone. Well, it used to be. I mean, it's now anymore. It is like our new TV.
Really,
But
it is. Yeah.
it's not something I thought about, and it is shaking. And the bigger screen that you're watching it on, the shakier it seems. And
Yeah, right.
for older people, I think it can definitely affect that. So
Are you
I am
using an
trying.
Osmo? Have you tried the Osmo, the DJI Osmo? So that's like the mini steady cam. So it's got a tiny little gimbal that like it's like mountable, but it actually is the actual lens is setting on a gimbal that's probably no bigger than, a finger, so
Okay. I have not tried that. So it would be a lot more steady, I guess.
they're pretty solid.
That
Yeah, they're pretty solid. And
yeah.
now Samsung just came out. I mean, I know we're getting in the weeds on actual like hardware here, but the new Samsung demo that's actually on a phone, they just released a video where they had basically taped a phone to the rim of a car, and obviously you then get that like rolling effect. Well, they've got some kind of I don't even know how to describe it, sorcery, where like the picture instead of rolling over, I mean, obviously it bounces because the level of the lens is going, from high to low. But like they
Hmm.
show this auto level feature and it literally just goes like this. It's crazy. I have no
Wow.
idea how that is even possible as the camera physically or as the phone physically turns. So some of these, as more people are creating content, then more hardware companies are then creating the combos of hardware and software that like start to solve for these things. Cause I'm like you. I mean, YouTube has effectively, become television unless there's storms passing through, which even at that point, I mean, in a lot of ways, I'd rather watch Ryan Hall, y'all, than YouTube channel than my local weather station because he covers it better.
Yeah.
Now he's gonna jump back and forth from here to there and not necessarily have that local coverage, but as we continue to morph and creator driven content continues to take up more and more of people's time, I mean, just naturally, all of these things are going to get solved because these companies know if they want to stay in business, they have to produce the hardware and the software that allows people like me and you to figure out how the heck to produce a television show. you know,
Yep, that's true.
you know.
And I am trying to upgrade certain equipment. And, like, starting off, I just used cameras with the internal mic, and that was another complaint I would get. That's all you really have to do is go through some of your comments and see what
Comments.
people are complaining about
Yeah.
and try and fix. Like, you're not going to please everybody, but
Right.
try and fix the things that you can. And that was a thing. Another reason for switching to DJI was I love their mic system. So this little mic, Bluetooth connects to that camera super easy,
Mm-hmm.
and it's something I can just have on me. It doesn't matter how far I am from the camera; they can still hear what I'm saying,
Yep.
or yeah. So audio was another thing that I would get complaints on, like we can't hear what you're saying, or um, so I did change that. I've been thinking about trying out a 360 cam. I see a lot of people are starting to use those, set it on top of the truck or something, and then you got
Oh yeah.
360 vision.
Yeah, and then in
So
the edit, you can actually I see people where they even show it where they're like almost. I mean,
turning,
the full thing is really this big wrap, but like in
yeah,
the edit, they'll actually make it look like the camera pivots.
yeah,
Which is also like another cool feature. Yeah,
that's
it's
something I
getting
want to add.
sophisticated. You know, it's
Yeah,
it's getting sophisticated, and it's getting to where normal folks can kind of pretty reasonably put together fairly professional production quality. Which is, as we say, continues to kind of be the standard that people want, right? They almost want Shed Movers R Us to look like whatever, pick your kind of reality show style, right? They almost want it to look like Storage Wars or Cops, or you know what I mean, like something that had a whole crew of people doing it.
Yeah. It's like, I'm just one person here. I I have thought about taking somebody with, because it would make for better content if somebody actually had a camera and could move around.
Yeah.
But it's something I've thought about, but I haven't. Yeah,
Well,
haven't really.
it's that same idea. It's like, how much do you wind up? It's sort of like getting a second driver or whatever.
Mhm.
Like how much, are you changing a production like standard almost to where then the new standard of how your videos look is almost having that like third person handheld. And now is it then does the audience get upset if you don't have it? So now you're paying the guy to ride with you,
Yeah, I know.
all the time. It's hard decisions to make,
Yeah, it is. It's, I don't know. I don't want to make it to where it's so complicated that I end up just not wanting to do it too.
Yeah,
That's a big thing, because and starting out, um, it's really not like me to start something without having all the stuff to do it. That was the one thing, I had to kind of break out of that, because um, I am usually the person that doesn't want to do something unless I know I got it figured out and I got everything that I need.
Right.
And so I kind of had to go against my, I don't know what you would call it, but
Nature.
my
Yeah.
nature. Yeah.
Instincts. Yeah. Yeah. And I'm normally that way too. But you're right. It's something that you just have to dive into. Well, I know we've kind of gone a little long. But I do appreciate you for being on. I appreciate the conversation. I think that, we kind of continue to see this need for, especially the post production, the edit side of things. So we're working really hard to try and create the team that can do all of these things at scale. Because I think it's important, not just for, Shed Movers R Us or Shed Geek or Pro Shed Builder, or, pick the people who are making videos and putting them out. I think it's important for the whole industry that we have good content just out in the atmosphere, because the industry needs to have it just needs to have trusted faces. It's a fragmented industry. It's not the kind of thing where you can kind of point to a singular figure like you can in, for, your phones, Tim Cook or Steve Jobs before him, or it's not the kind of thing where the customer can necessarily build trust with like one centralized figure. So we need everybody kind of building the trust of the industry, that has sometimes gotten a bad rap, and to continue to change that, we just need good people, good operators, who are putting their faces and their personalities out there. So, we want to help with that. And, you and I have talked, we would really like to even have almost a conglomerate type of a channel where we can have some contributors from here and contributors from there, and really help to lift, all the content creators, but right alongside of them, the actual shed builders, and manufacturers and dealers and haulers and everybody in between. So, in any case, we want to lean into it, and we so much appreciate, you and all the others out there who are kind of doing this work and who are doing a great job of it, which you definitely are. So, thank you so much. I'd love to have you on again, Dustin. Like, let's keep up with the trends, and maybe even get like a content creators roundtable where
Yeah.
let you guys kind of talk shop and talk about the algorithms and who's getting throttled and who's skyrocketing and what do you need to tweak to do it. And, I just think this is the type of topic that we have to keep engaging the audience with, because it's going to be vital for the future of the industry.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So anyway, if you would, I would love to have you back. I've had fun with it. Thank you for sharing your story, and for giving us a little peek behind. I don't know if we ever got to the end of that story, but obviously somewhere in there you did propose to your girlfriend. She became your wife. I see pictures of looks like you and your wife and a child in the background. So it sounds like it's all worked out for you. Am I right about that?
It did, yeah. Actually, when I started my job or started in the shed industry 2018, I thought I was just making the money now, because I had never made this kind of money before, but at the same time, I'd never, had this expense.
Expenses, yeah, right.
But I was seeing the money, and I actually got engaged to my wife now.
Now wife, yeah.
That same year, later on that year. So then we got married. I started in the shed industry the first part of 2018, and we got married towards the end of 2018. So.
You knew it was going in the right direction. And you must have got the sign off from your father-in-law, who threw you out there. You must have been industrious and had enough fortitude that he was okay with that. So so you did good, Dustin. You did good. But thank you for being on. I've really enjoyed it. Enjoyed making your acquaintance and learning all about the business and the content side and everything else. So if you're listening out there, go and obviously like, subscribe, watch all of Dustin's videos. That is Shed Movers Are Us, with a capital R instead of the ARE, sort of like Toys R Us. Shed Movers Are Us. Go like and subscribe and leave him a comment. Show him some love. Help him with the algorithm, and let everybody know that the shed industry has each other's backs, and we love to see somebody doing good work out there. So thank you very much, Dustin. I appreciate you, man, and please come back on another episode of the Shed Geek Podcast.
Yeah, we'll do. Thank you for having me on here. This is definitely something new. I never seen myself being on a podcast, I guess, but yeah, I appreciate you having me on here, and I enjoyed the conversation.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you, sir. Thank you for listening, and we will see you next time on another episode of the Shed Geek Podcast. Today's Friday edition of the Shed Geek Podcast was brought to you by Shed Geek Marketing. If your company is looking to increase leads, strengthen your brand presence, improve digital visibility, or simply stop wasting money on marketing that doesn't work, you're in luck. Shed Geek Marketing was built specifically for this industry and has assembled the absolute best providers from across the country that, bottom line, bring you the results. From dealer startups to nationwide manufacturers, we help businesses connect better, market smarter, and grow with intention. Interested in becoming a title sponsor of the Shed Geek Podcast or advertising across the Shed Geek Media Network? Reach out today at info@shedgeek.com and ask for the 2026 Shed Geek Media Kit. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time right here on the Shed Geek Podcast.